Hello, everyone. I just wanted to kind of make a short about basically what I've learned this week from Jesus is basically read this book called Liberated Through Submission. And the main reason why I started practicing submitting to my husband was because of the fact that he's an unbeliever. And it says that if, through your submission that they could be saved. And I figured maybe it would help with to create less fighting, less arguing, and so on. Um, because when you start following Jesus, you know that when you get mad, it's like considered a sin, and you shouldn't be fighting or arguing with anybody. And so I was trying to stay out of that as well. And so through the submission, it helped me to stop defending myself and figure out how to conquer some arguments without arguing. So, anyways, the three rules that I follow is one, if he's asking me to do something that's just simple and not worth fighting or arguing about, I just do it. And if it is something that I don't want to do, I will let him know. And if he doesn't complain or say anything more about it, then I can assume that he's accepted it and I can go ahead and do it the way that I wanted to do it. And if it's something that he continues to bring up or he argues about or doesn't sound happy about it, then I have to let it go. And if it's something that I feel like is still pretty important to me, that it's not done that way, then I can bring it up to Jesus and just trust him that he will take care of it. So that's that. And then, but one of the other things that he's been teaching me is that we shouldn't really be striving for anything. And striving can cause anger and anxiety and frustration. God really wants us to live a simpler life. And if you look at the times that you're striving, a lot of times there's some fear there. And so if you start looking at the times that you have an attitude, for example, too, start looking underneath those things and see, is there a fear? Is that, because when I get mad or have an attitude, if I look at it, um, it's usually because I have a fear or an anxiety or something about it that's causing me to worry about that or whatever. And obviously the goal is to stop the worry, stop the striving, stop the, anxiety and so on, and figure out. I've been starting to analyze what's causing me to feel this way, or what's driving this whole thing, the attitude or whatever it is. But I noticed that I'll strive all day to do all these things on my to-do list, and usually there's a fear or a reason why I have to do it all today. There's like, for example, like there could be a high watch or whatever with the rapture, for example. And so I got to get it all done by Tuesday. You know what I mean? I'm sure I'm not the only one in this group who's had that issue. But anyways, like for example, today we have these apples that are starting to go bad, that we got a whole case of apples that was given to us. And so I was like, well, I got to do something with these apples before they go bad. And so I worked all day canning applesauce and did a bunch of other things. And so, but what I noticed, or what God has showed me, is that we do all these things, and a lot of times this is mostly women, but I'm not saying men don't fall into this category too. But we strive for all these things that we have in our mind that we need to do, or that we think need to be done. And then by the end of the day, our spouse will ask us to do one little thing, like he might ask you for a glass of water, for example. And like in my case, I would just get mad because it's like at that point I'm tired and I want your help, or I feel like I'm the one who's did everything or whatever. And so God has kind of showed me that we can do the same thing with Jesus, where, we're striving for all these things that we think are important. And God only asks us for a few things. And by the time we get to those things, we're too tired, or we don't have time to do them or whatever. And so he showed me that, it's the same as like how when the lady was sitting on the ground, listening to Jesus, and I believe it was Martha, came and was upset because she wasn't helping with the dishes or whatever. And Jesus said, well, no, this she's doing the right thing, that you'll only have me for a season. Well, this is something that God showed me with our spouses, is that, first of all, God doesn't want us to strive for all of these things. We need to let go of some of it and make room to help our spouses with the few things that they're asking. I mean, really, those should be the top of our list. The things that Jesus is asking us for, or the things that our spouse is asking us for, should be at the top of our list. And so, if you're overloading yourself, you're just heading for burnout or whatever. And so, anyways, I just wanted to bring awareness to that. I just feel like it's was a kind of a cool learning thing that I learned this week. Haven't conquered it yet. Obviously, I've always been a kind of a workaholic, so to speak. But God has definitely been slowing me down over this last um, 12 months or whatever, and tried to get me back to nature and try to simplify things. And I used to blow dry my hair, do my makeup, do all this stuff, and some people might think it's crazy, but you know um, or that I may have taken it too far, but God has really showed me that I don't need all of that, and that He's basically put it in my mind, I'm beautiful just the way I am, and that I don't need to be trying to do all of the things that I have in my head that I need to do. Only a few are important, and the most important is following Jesus and taking care of our family members. And so, um, I just, in case you're struggling to find the time for Jesus, or you're struggling to find the time for your spouse or your kids, maybe, there's a few things, our kids, maybe they want you to go to their soccer game or whatever it is. Well, that all falls into this category. And so, maybe this might help you. Love you all. Bye.